All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, doing another installment of As the Journey Turns. Today, brought to you by Palmolive dishwashing liquid. Just kidding, it's not. But yeah, if you grew up with a mom who used to watch her stories, that's what my mom used to call them in the afternoon. Yeah, it was Madge and the woman dunking her hand in the dishwashing liquid, and Madge's like, it's okay, it's dishwashing liquid, it's fine, it's good for your hands. Just keep them in there. She's given a manicure or something like that. I don't even know. But I used to watch my mom watching that show as the world turns. And again, doing this just for a few real people out there, just like who understand me, which is crazy, just like you and just like me. They're becoming fewer and fewer. So thank you, though, for those of you who actually watch this channel. Now, in this particular episode of As the Journey Turns, I'm going to make the case for why Journey should call it quits. Yep. Gonna do it. Gonna do it. Sorry, gotta do it. A lot of people will disagree with me because they're gonna say, yeah, man, Journey is great. They still have a lot of gas in the tank. Well, I've been hearing from people in the field. And when I say in the field, I mean people who are patrons and they report back to me. They're also nice enough to patronize the channel. So I appreciate that. But they're out there and they're going to shows. One of my patrons went to the Arlington show. And here's some pictures from the Arlington show. If you went, apparently it was just Neil Sean. He was the only person at this show playing for Journey. Um, Shows that there's a lot of camaraderie out there. Pictures from Neil, of Neil, by Neil, for Neil, and of Neil. And so I'm going to examine some of these posts over on Elon Musk's platform called X, formerly known as Twitter. He's got this pinned tweet here. You can win a pair of front row tickets to Journey. Sounds cool. Yeah, I think that's the only way I'd go right now is front row and free. Um, but here, Neil is posting the stuff from Facebook where he answers Jonathan Cain, says, I find Cain's slanderous allegations are very disruptive. And yes, I've already reported on that. So you think, okay, he's done with that. And he's going to post a picture, and there are the pictures. And nope, he put it up there again. And he's got 66,000 subscribers or followers. He's got 24 likes. All right. He's not getting ratioed, but he's got 24 likes. Here he's got 22 likes because he's posted it once, twice, and a third time. He's really trying to make the point. So 28 and 24 and 22. Apparently, people aren't that interested in it. And a lot of people just like stuff when people post that. You know, like if you go over on X, if it's somebody that you follow, they will just automatically like what you post. And I think people do that. Um, More Neil Sean footage from the Instagram reel. Only 19 likes for that. The article, so he gets 326 on this one. He got 75 over here. It's not a great ratio, but it could be worse. And so he reposted the whole thing from this person who calls themselves Maggie Green. You know what? I was involved in this in 2017. Neil Sean actually called me the not so real music observer. Dave, not the not so real music observer. That was good. That was good for my ego. I felt great. But then, was Journey going to break up in 2017? People thought it would happen. Was Journey going to break up a couple of years ago? Yeah, people thought it was going to happen. It may still not happen. I don't know why that is. Here's a theory, right? On As the Journey Turns. Here's a theory. So Cain would have to quit, really, for this to end. Cain would be the guy to quit because I think Jonathan kind of has a life that's outside of music that is more enriching and it's good for his soul and it's interesting. Again, you may not be a fan of the theology and so forth, but I'm not going to get deep into the woods there. I think Cain is a different person based on what I've heard. And I think his life has changed for the better because of that chance meeting on the airplane with Paula White years ago. Now, some people don't like Paula. Some people don't like Neil's wife and all that stuff. But I'm just saying, who's going to quit the band? Neil is not going to quit his own band. The coup attempt back whenever was trying to basically pry that away from him. I think he was shocked, but maybe they knew stuff, right? Maybe they were on to all of this stuff. And they figured, we need to wrestle control of this away from him because he's got a spending problem. And we want this franchise, this brand or whatever to be profitable for years into the future. And right now, it's not looking good. It's not a good idea for him to keep going. That could very well be true, and that could be one of the reasons why that all happened. You'd have to ask people like Ross Valerie and Steve Perry and Steve Smith. They know the answers to that question. They know all of it. But see, Neil is saying slander, right? This is his thing. This is Cain slandering him. And I don't think it's slander. And the reason I don't think it's slander is because the definition, I've got the definition here, a false and malicious statement spoken about another person. Now, the spending habits, are they false? Yes or no? Well, the courts are going to figure that out. But if you have a credit card statement, a bank statement, and it says how much you spent on it, how is it slander to point that out to someone? This is what I don't get. I mean, if Cain said, hey, Neil, you're fat and ugly, brother. You're a disgrace. Something like that. And it's not true. That would be slander. And Neil could fire back and say, hey, your mother wears army boots or something like that. And they could go back and forth and have a slanderous argument against each other. But Cain is saying, I've got all of this evidence. I've been trying not to talk about it. The timing, I will say the timing was horrible, but I'm thinking that Cain wanted to get the maximum amount of attention for this, and he has. But my end thesis here is that Journey should quit. Journey should quit. Neil can go off and do what he wants to do, form a different band, do a jam band with a bunch of guitar players or something. That's what he really wants to do. I get it. This makes a lot of money. People show up in droves, but the product, it's nowhere near where it used to be. There are two eras of this band that I think were really impressive. And I've already made the case about Steve Perry, Greg Raleigh era. And yeah, certainly when Cain joined the band, there was new energy there up until before Trial by Fire. I think Trial by Fire, it was still good, but it was a different band, had a different feel to it, had a different energy level. The early 80s Journey, the late 70s Journey, the Journey you saw on like the Midnight Special, it's just a different era, a different level of performance. I think the band also had a resurgence. If you go back and watch the stuff when Steve Augeri first joined Journey, they were trying really hard to impress everybody and to say, look, we can do this without Steve. And I think they were hitting on all cylinders as a band. That's when Dean had joined for the first time, and they were working really hard. That Arrival album turned out to be very good, but was largely ignored because Mr. Perry wasn't there. And you can argue, too, that when Arnell first joined Journey, they got like a third boost or a third shot in the arm. Sorry to use that expression. Please still stay away from CVS and Walgreens if you can. So with all that said, though, we are on a downward slope from all of that. I've got friends out there telling me that Def Leppard is just doing a much better job out there during this current tour. Maybe they weren't before all this news broke, but now um, there's no way they can go out there and have the chemistry that they're supposed to have. Um, when people who are attending these shows, and there are a lot of casual fans that don't even know what's going on, but enough people know where they're going to look at what's happening on stage and say, these guys really hate each other. Is Jonathan going to go out there with a rhythm guitar and stand next to Neil Sean? That's like invading Neil's personal space. And if you go back and look, right, what Neil posts, like he's posting, it's all him. It's just him. Nobody else is in the shot. It's me, Neil Sean. Here I am again, and you would think he's the only one in the band. So I can't see how this goes on. And if it goes on, it's just a bunch of fakery. Who's going to trust it? And then you've got that issue, right? Some people say there might be a vocal track being used. I keep hearing it. I stopped hearing it for a while, but I'm hearing it again. And it may not be prevalent at every concert, but somebody told me the other night that it sounded like Arnell's voice was going to give out. This is brutal on any singer. And this guy has maxed out. He has overstayed. He is in double overtime right now trying to play. And it's like if you ever watched a hockey game where they just get so tired they can't even skate anymore and they're just kind of crashing into each other and hoping that the puck goes in the net so they can stop playing. Yeah, that's where Arnell is right now. So I think it should be over after this tour. It should just end. And maybe these guys can go their separate ways. Sorry again for the pun. I think Neil Sean, again, can just hang out and do his own thing, find some people to jam with, and John can do his ministry stuff and record more Christian-based albums, neither of which will make the other guy a lot of money. It won't, and that's not the point at this stage. They should have saved the money they've been making from these tours, but apparently there's not a lot of money to save, or at least we'll find out for sure, and we'll see if John calling Neil a big spender, he's calling him those names, he's just telling the truth. He's not personally attacking Neil Sean, but if it's untrue, it would be slander. So it's up to the courts to figure it out. Anyway, as the journey turns, again, brought to you by Palmolive Soap. It softens your hands while you do the dishes. And it's also brought to you by Patreon, YouTube memberships, all of that good stuff. Buy me a coffee, which has been great. I get great messages from those folks who buy me coffee, and my energy tends to get low in some of these videos. So thanks to everybody for keeping the coffee mug filled up. God bless everyone. Pray without ceasing because the world is kind of crazy. And I'll be back again for another installment of As the Journey Turns.